I actually thought of you just because, like, with your musicality, I know that you've gotten into doing soundtracks. And when I'm watching Trent Reznor hoist an Oscar, I'm like, that's in your future. I feel like that is an attainable goal for you.
Thank you. That would be rad. I didn't get a chance to watch last night because we are rehearsing. We just started rehearsals yesterday for a live stream that we're doing. So 4 out of 5 of us are here in person, and Jen's going to be with us virtual, but we're together here in Nashville, like rehearsing some of our new songs for the first time to play. So
yeah, how do you feel about doing those virtual concerts? Because it's kind of like, it's almost a theater of the mind for you too, to be able to go through that.
I mean, it's cool that we can do something. It feels really good to play. I mean, obviously the big missing ingredient is a live audience. But, you know, being able to put it on and focus on like the lighting and making it look cool, still putting on a show, still putting, you know, a set together feels really good. I mean, it feels really good. I was having a lot of fun last night.
Well, I appreciate that you're giving us time today. I think, you know, and especially for me, it's great to actually meet you for the first time in my radio career, which, you know, you are an important person, and Evanescence is such an important band to us, to our audience. And I feel like it's a band that's really gotten people through some tough times. And this past year was a bunch of tough times in order. So how was it for you, and how do you feel like you got through that past year, and maybe how do you feel now that maybe things are feeling like a bit more optimistic for the concert industry?
Totally. We are very hopeful for the future, but looking back on the last year and a half, music is my place to heal myself, to work my stuff out. It's really processing for me. It's me like kind of like real-time processing the challenges and the grief and really the obstacles in my life. So it was really good for me to have last year on just a personal level. For all of us in the band, we needed an outlet to pour something into, to build something, to be productive somehow, to still feel like we're moving forward in a time that just felt like out of control and just waiting for, I don't know, the apocalypse. It just really was just like this, what can we do? We have to be able to do something and make something good. The other thing for me that is just like the most beautiful thing in my life, and one of the most healing things in my life, is helping other people. We're not making music to help people, but knowing that people are out there like wanting it, you know, that our fans, like we told them we were going to put out an album last year, and it's been so long and we were excited about it. And then when it hit the fan, it's like, are we really going to just be another disappointment and say, oh, we're just going to wait because it's too hard? Or are we going to just do this and have faith that we're going to get through it and show people that that we still have hope, you know, that we can still be going and we can put out a song, you know, every few months and just give them something good, something to look forward to, something to be excited about. That makes us feel good too. So I think the whole experience for us was a coping mechanism, and also just a way to kind of find and create positivity and hope in time with a lot of anxiety and darkness and, you know, loss.
I like the way that you put that too about, you know, it's like this healing process for you too. And I love that in this year you did have this catharsis and like this other creation, if you will, to keep you engaged, keep you occupied. But I also feel like I have to do a wellness check on anybody who went through the last year with a child.
Yeah.
Because in addition to, like, you know, the music baby, you know, you're trying to stay sane, but then also teach someone simple math. So how did you do within this last year, like with a child, and your perspective as a parent?
Yeah, it's extra. And, you know, I have to say, like, there's like a positive and negative to all of it. You just have to find the good and like have a glass of wine and try to be nice to yourself in between.
Yeah.
The good side was that we were just about to go on a tour, and Jack comes with me on tours sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't. And I know that the older that he gets, like the harder that's going to be, because he's going to need school and stability and all those things. But we were just about to be apart for like 3 weeks. That's really hard for me. And we really, I mean, any mom and her 6-year-old are probably pretty tight. Like we love each other and he's clingy to me. You know, it's just such a sweet age. I hate being apart from him. And I was dreading it, but excited for the tour last March. And then when it got canceled, the bright side was like, okay, I don't have to like leave you. We're going to spend a lot of time together. You're out of school now. So we really just like tried to make it fun and have had little, you know, home adventures. You know, he's really into science and like making messes, but like he came up with the coolest invention yesterday. I have to tell you about this.
Okay.
I don't know if I can explain it very well, but okay. He came up with this all by himself. He found a balloon. It just floated into our yard, which is cool in the first place. Like, I saw a red balloon, and the balloon with helium still in it floated into the yard. So he took the balloon and then he tied it to like this, like it's like a stick with a finger on it.
Okay.
I don't know why we have this. Just like this pointing stick. Like, look at this. And he tied the balloon to the right at the hand of it, and then he threw it in the swimming pool. And it was a windy day. That's why we got the balloon in the first place. And he was like, look, he's like, I made an invention. The finger points whichever way, the direction that the wind is blowing. And it was totally true. And it really worked because like the wind would pull the balloon and the finger would like point that way. And it was really good. I was like, I am so proud of you. This is a good idea.
I'm super impressed with that at 6. It's really good.
No, he's really into like just science, and he's fascinating, and it's good. He's being around him. Yes, being a mom, it is stressful when you're one-on-one for a long time. I'm lucky to have a wonderful, supportive husband who's here with us, and full-time dad. But like, it's also been cool for me as I've been going through a period over the last few years of grief after losing my little brother. You know, my brother and I were really tight, and we were 12 years apart, and like the golden time in our friendship that we always would think about and like think fondly of was when he was 6 and I was a senior in high school. And so I'm getting to like be that person again. I'm getting to kind of fall back into my big sister role and mom role, you know, kind of at the same time, and have fun and see through his eyes and sort of reconnect to my own childhood. Yeah. So there's good in there. I'm not saying all that rosy stuff to say that it hasn't been very challenging at times, but we're lucky with Jack. He's got a good situation going on.
I'm sorry about your brother. I actually didn't know about that. And I do think that's a beautiful way to almost find a reconnection in that relationship within a new relationship with your own child, and thinking in that context of family and comfort. That's a beautiful thing. Which actually, you know what, I'm going to pivot a little bit. You were also saying things about childhood, and I saw your performance on Kimmel in the background. I've never felt closer to anybody in my life, because I was like, there's Rainbow Bright dolls and Alf dolls, and I was like, oh, are we?
Ah! Wait, do I have the purple one? I've got the blue. Wait, hold on. Don't let anybody see my shoes.
Okay.
I didn't dress from waist down. Yay!
Okay, so are you like a collector? You keep this stuff? Because like I thought that I was like hanging on a little too tightly, that I was keeping things like this, but like,
no, it's so good, and it's got to be original. They've done all these remakes of like Rainbow Bright and Care Bears. It's totally not the same. It's cheaper material. It's not as heavy. It's not as cool. Right. Yeah, I am. I haven't been like actively collecting lately, but same time in my life when I was in high school, that was like my big hobby, was collecting all my childhood 80s toys that I either had or wished that I had, really more. So yeah.
Rainbow Bright was the big
Me
deal.
too. She was absolutely my favorite.
And like, as an adult, I'm still like thinking she's the greatest. I'm like, all she likes is just color and wants you all to be nice to each other. Like, there's nothing wrong with her.
Beautiful. I've got Starlight. I've got to bring him back out here. I put him in the laundry room because I was working on getting a stain out of him.
That's amazing. I have a shadow box in my old childhood bedroom of a record. It's a Rainbow Bright LP.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I had the tape. We had like tape, like they put out all those things that were like either a little record or a tape that came with a book. And it's like, you know, when you hear this sound, turn the page, whatever. I love those little books.
That's such a good comfort food in these kind of years, for sure.
I know.
I want to get down to business, because I have to tell you, with the new album, The Bitter Truth, and a huge congratulations on it.
Thanks.
I feel like, and this is probably the goal for like any band that has the kind of history that Evanescence does. I feel like you had essentially captured the ethos of everything that made Evanescence what it was in the first record, early days, but you also moved the ball forward on this one. So there's something that grew in that sound. And again, that's like the ideal situation for any band, but what do you think clicked and how do you feel like you achieved that?
It's hard to explain. It's not like there was that intent. And you know, I feel that, but I'm not hearing it and going, oh, this is like our first stuff. It's hard to explain. It just feels like now, and it just feels true. But I can say that, like, from a deep internal place, I am at a place right now where things have really come full circle in my life in a good way. And it's been a journey, and that journey is on the album. But I've gone through phases in my life where I just was sort of frustrated and feeling misunderstood and sort of hating on things about the past and wanting to just show new sides. And I feel like I'm at a point where I've learned that to be truly who I am, that means resisting the urges to be reactionary and opposite to the things that I want to prove wrong. Or, you know, like if somebody hurts you, like you so badly want to be not that thing. But when the hurt finally heals a bit, you can just go back to being you as if that thing didn't exist. So it's hard to explain what I'm trying to explain without,
no, but
like,
I think I get it. It's almost like you grow up and you almost get the tools to deliver on something that might have haunted you, or something that you weren't able to deliver on before because you either just didn't have the experience or you didn't have the strength at that time.
Well, that's true too. I mean, the band is really strong, and you know, I've been with the same guys for the most part. Tim, Troy, and Will, we've been together for like 13 years. But that's a big thing. Like, we didn't have anything like that with the first album. We were just kids starting out. We were deciding who the band was going to be that kind of joined us for tour while we were already recording in the studio with like session players and stuff. We weren't like a band like this is a band. We were just learning. Like, we were kids writing music and finding out, you know, how to do it. And it was beautiful that we were, I mean, given such an incredible platform in that early time. It was scary too, but it's a wonderful thing. But I had to grow and build and make the band, like, all that happened in front of everybody. And it's just happened all along the way. And it's been a challenge many, many, many times. It's almost fallen apart plenty of times. It's hard to keep the band together. But to be here now after all of that is so worth it. It's so worth it. It makes me want to work. It really, last year in particular, like, after getting to this point where things are healthy and I'm with musicians that are so good, you know, and writing together is a pleasure, a challenge, like a great video game, a challenge and a pleasure. So I don't want to waste it, you know. And it's funny because I think if I was imagining back to that, if I'm in that time, I'm me at 21 thinking like, where am I going to be when I'm 39? You know, I didn't see this still happening. I really didn't. And how could I? I just hadn't lived long enough to be able to think that far in the future, but it also just seemed too chaotic, too impossible, too like tightrope all the time. But you learn. I took control after that and started making positive decisions. And this is a great band. I'm really grateful to be with the band that I'm with. I'm really grateful to be able to make music like this with them. And grateful to have held on to the Evanescence thing, you know, through all this so that we can be here now making something that's, I mean, in my opinion, just a lot stronger than anything we could have made back then.
I think the musicianship on this record is phenomenal, and I don't really know how to personify this other than what I'm used to, kind of like a certain texture with a lot of rock, and there is so much depth in this record, and it just hits you like right in the center of your chest in so many moments. Your band is phenomenal. Like the whole work is just, it's so great and such a breath of fresh air. So again, congratulations on that. I'll actually for this because I know you are women who have many appointments, as we all do, but one of the things I wanted to commend you on too is that in this past year that you really got involved in engaging people in speaking their mind via political process. I saw you doing a lot of stuff with International Women's Day. What's interesting about rock, and this is kind of like the duality it's always had, is that in like one respect, like rock and roll is supposed to be where you're like unapologetically yourself, right? And you're supposed to stand up for what you believe in without even blinking. And at the same time, rock can be a kind of vitriolic place to stand up for yourself. Like it's not always the most friendly environment to like stand up for yourself. So you seem to really find yourself in that. What do you think was the biggest change that maybe made you feel like, I'm going for it, like let's go, guns a-blazing?
Well, I don't think that's that different. Like I mean, if you're talking about being an outspoken woman in rock, like I mean, nothing there has really changed for me. It's just become a hot topic now. It's just such a funny thing that it has, because like, come on, y'all, where have you been? We don't need to talk about it. I kind of feel like it's one of those things where I think that the future is more inclusive, obviously, on a lot of different levels. It has to be. We're growing. We need to continue to grow and push that and absolutely fight back against the people that are trying to go back in time. But like, it's not about talking about, I'm a woman in rock, so it's just do it. Like, just don't think about what anybody is or isn't or looks like. Just let everything exist and judge it solely on its goodness. Like music should just be good or not, like what you like. But I mean, it's good to show people other perspectives. I think that that's really important. If you're only kind of always expressing, you know, the experience of, I don't know, a 25-year-old white male and his dude pals like playing rock music, then that's all you're ever going to hear about. And there's a lot of people that won't relate as well to that as they would from some other perspectives, you know? So it's cool to just come from a lot of different places. I think that that's what will lead people to put themselves in other people's shoes and think more openly and inclusively.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much color in the world, going back to our Rainbow Bright superhero.
Yes, that's all I want to do. I just want to
grow up and be Rainbow Bright.
Yeah.
Amy, this was awesome. And like I said, like in my career in radio, I've been always waiting for the chance to get to talk to you. So thanks for making time for us today. We're actually doing like a big feature this week on Better Without You. It sounds amazing on the air. We're absolutely loving it. So if people haven't checked out The Bitter Truth yet, I'm going to like start campaigning, knocking on doors and being like, you got to listen to this record. So
thank you. Check out the video if you haven't seen it. That was really fun to do.
I have seen the video. And was that filmed in like a kind of still like quarantine thing? Because it looked like a professional regular video.
No, it's professional. We just went through a lot of hoops to like be safe. We Beth, who's my hair and makeup artist BF for life, and my guitar player Troy and I road tripped in a car from here to Minneapolis, where the director Eric lives and works a lot. So he knew all the people there to like put that together. It was all built on a set, but like everybody had COVID tests multiple times. We all stayed apart and wore masks every time we weren't filming and all that stuff. But it's just so beautiful. You know, it's been so cool every time during this time we're able to make something happen. You appreciate it more. It takes more work, but it's also more fun. I would never have probably had a road trip with Troy and Beth if it wasn't for the situation, and we had a really good time. Like, I mean, it was great. It's just like a good old, like, yeah, this is what we have to do. A lot of this has reminded me of the early days when I didn't know what I was doing, and we didn't already have a set method of how you go about making a music video or having, you know, the ability to just hop on a plane or, I don't know, how to go into the studio all together and just lay down all the drums. It's like, all that had to be scattered and different. We had to think outside the box, make our own music videos sometimes and all that stuff. And it just, when you're able to do it and pull it off, you're like, yes, it's so gratifying. Like we did the impossible thing. It's just made it more special and meaningful. We're always going to remember this time with a lot of pride and happiness.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting way, and we probably never would have guessed how much it could have invigorated so many other aspects of our life. But
totally.
Thank you again. I absolutely loved this time today, and thanks for being so generous with it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks for playing a song.
Yeah!